We just wrapped up numbers on the board. A few minutes later, Adrian Griffin gets fired by the Milwaukee Bucks. Live reaction. How we feeling?
Where would we be without cell phones?
Right, we had to wait to go home.
We'd have went home and saw it on the
No, we
bottom
would
ticker.
have got in our car and turned on the radio.
Yeah.
ESPN 1000.
But here we go, man. Wow, 30 and 13 season.
It just feels so early.
I love it though.
The timing is just
I love
The
it.
timing, yeah.
I love it because it means that they know them. They're self-aware. The organization is self-aware. Maybe Giannis's Dame is self-aware as well. Do y'all think they had to have gone into the office and said something? You think it was a nudge or a push?
I don't know, because they didn't tell Giannis about the Damian Lillard trade, just because he didn't say no. And Giannis potentially probably fought for Adrian Griffin to be there. So they probably didn't want him to say no
Not
about
potentially. That was the number one determining factor for Adrian Griffin. A lot of things have happened in Adrian Griffin's tenure as a Milwaukee Bucks coach. A couple days before the season started, Terry Stotts was like, I'm out of here.
Yo, boy.
Stuff is not right. I guess they had one confrontation before a preseason game, and that was enough for Terry Stotts to walk away. And Terry Stotts was the owner of like the offensive system and stuff like that.
He must have thought he knew everything. And Terry was like, listen.
Yeah, first year coach. Something else happened. About 7-8 games to the season, they were playing a specific defensive coverage, and Brook Lopez and Giannis and them said, hey, Adrian, we respect you, but the way we used to defend is one of the reasons why we won championships. Okay, cool. Damian Lillard went to Adrian Griffin and said, hell, I don't like the way your rotations are. I want to play the entire first quarter. And Adrian Griffin, to his credit, he said, you got it.
Yep.
You got it. But we don't know about the stuff that he may have said no to. You know what I'm saying? We only know the adjustments, and maybe that was one of the reasons. I think the timing of it is just the crazy part.
It is.
Before the All-Star break.
But is that why it's good timing?
I think they
You go into the All-Star break, it gives you a little bit of time. You know what I mean? It's just like
It's just crazy that means that they didn't see a world where he would progressively get better. They said what he's doing right now is just not going to cut it, and we think Doc Rivers is the one
I think
that
the
get us going.
timeline matters too. Like, even though it's their first year, it's just like you don't really want to waste no time and have no early disappointment
But
with
I
this team.
asked y'all that at the beginning of the year. I said, are they championship or bust? And y'all said, nah, they not championship or bust. They got to obviously do something. They think that they are championship or bust.
Yeah.
Which is why I like this move, because I agree. I think they were a little bit of championship or bust. I understood what y'all was saying, but there was definitely a bar that I was looking for them to hit. And throughout this half of a season, they definitely did not hit it. Not at all. They're
Even
not
in
a favorite
handful
to
of
me.
games, though, I could tell early on that Adrian Griffin probably wasn't the right coach to get them like to that pinnacle.
It's a
you know?
lot to handle as a first-time
is.
head coach,
It
man.
really
You
is.
managing personalities. You got Dame coming into a situation that was new for him. That was a lot to put on his plate. Do y'all think they're regretting not having Coach Bud? Maybe if you have Coach Bud, it's
It's least like familiar,
familiarity.
familiar territory for them.
For sure.
Yeah.
This is a lot of new shit going on with a new, fresh coach that is kind of, I'm not trying to throw Adrian Griffin under the bus, but I just know, number one, inheriting a team that is looking for championships is already a lot. As you know, as a Laker fan, it's already a lot of pressure. But then that championship team then goes and makes a big cultural change. And then you got to adjust with that. That's a lot, bro. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Even though the defensive personnel isn't great, the fact that they are as bad as they are defensively has to be schematic at some point.
Yeah,
too.
That's always been my biggest issue. That's always been my biggest issue. And it's not even from the stats say a lot and all of that as well, too.
Sorry, we're trying to check to see if there's more updates and stuff.
But just watching certain Bucks games, and there's always games I always go back to. Like the Spurs one was something that I really was just like, well, even the Cavs game a little bit after that when the Cavs really, it's just like, man. And some of the games where Giannis don't, like they played a game where Giannis didn't play. Was that against the Pistons?
That was the Cavs game.
The Cavs game.
Oh, yeah, okay, the Cavs game. And then they had a game not so long ago against the Pistons.
The last two games against the Pistons are in that game with 4 minutes left.
And I get it. It is the NBA. They're all professionals. Anything can happen on any given night. But I just look at the Bucks as like a team. There's certain teams where it's just like, man,
we got to come out and take care of business.
The Celtics don't play with their food.
Yes.
The Celtics do not play with their food. They can be beat on any given night. But there are certain games I'm not even watching that shit because they handling business.
It's supposed to be certain traits within a championship team that's just like expectations.
Yeah, because if you're struggling with the Pistons, how am I supposed to trust you in the conference finals against the Celtics?
Yeah.
Like, there's a certain expectation that you're not hitting at that point.
Yeah, it's now we know that Doc Rivers is at the top of the list as far as people. Right now it's Joe Prudy until they figure it out. How do we feel about Doc Rivers coming back to the association potentially?
Well, before we dive into Doc Rivers, was it Chris Haynes or was it Woj or Chris Haynes? One of them said, I think it was Woj. They're looking for a decorated. What was the term that they used?
Let me figure it out.
I know. No, you're talking about like their
the type of coach. They're looking for a coach that has won before.
They're
basically.
like proven and
Yes.
like accomplished. It might have been like accomplished.
They're looking for accomplished coaches. And my first reaction was,
Accomplished and available veteran head coaches.
hey,
from Woj.
accomplished coaches usually have jobs.
Yeah.
If they are as accomplished as you were looking for, they probably wouldn't be on the market. But you do have Doc Rivers out there. Mike, what you thinking about Doc Rivers as the Bucks head coach?
You thought that was about to be your next head coach, low key.
Darvin Ham still got his hands in his pocket, so we gonna wait.
Yeah.
I feel good about Doc Rivers. Like I said, they're a team that already has the expectations, and you already mentioned it earlier. That's a lot to put on a rookie coach or someone that's really starting to like get his foot in the door. I think it's easier to manage when you do have that experience already, and you've been to the playoffs and like you've had championship teams under your belt. I think it's a little bit more you could work with.
They're falling with Doc Rivers. He's going to be objectively a better guy than Adrian Griffin as far as coaching right now. Adrian Griffin, again, first-year coach. But Doc Rivers puts them in a familiar territory than when they were with Coach Budenholzer. One of the main reasons why fandom didn't like Bud is that
adjustments.
he didn't make a ton of adjustments. Game to game, playoff to playoff series, he didn't make a lot of adjustments. And Doc Rivers falls into that as well. And that's how he gets to the point where he has the most 3-1 blown leads in any coach in NBA history. So it's definitely going to be an upgrade on a day-to-day basis. But as far as like putting you over the top in the adjustments that you might need to win a championship, I don't know if that coach is out there right now in January.
Yeah, that's something that Doc Rivers has always struggled with, is getting over the hump.
Yeah.
His teams haven't gotten over the hump except for once.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear, I pull up all brains. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. The CDA over here,